حطيتوا السلم على الجريدة؟
لسه شو حطه ولا بضع.
مش في السلات على البرج؟
لا ما في السلة.
حطوا السلم على الجريدة وجيب العمال على الجريدة، غالب بسرعة بدي أحرك كل الوضع. حطوا السلم على الجريدة يلا.
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 This is what a commute to work looks like in the West Bank. In the aftermath of October 7th, Israel withdrew the work permits of more than 120,000 Palestinian workers. Since then, 2 years of war and a rift between two economies that had previously been intertwined. Today, on the outskirts of Jerusalem, Palestinian workers take the clandestine route. There's no time to lose. A lookout makes sure the path is clear.
Without Israel, there is no work. I stay for a month to 40 days, and I earn 5,000 or 6,000 shekels. Then I come home to buy supplies. I stay for 3 days, and then I go back to work again. Today I have to leave. I was able to spend 3 days at home, and now I have to go back. I have to work.
No one here is happy about jumping the wall to go to work. No one is happy. Everyone here is forced to do this just to survive. There are no jobs in the West Bank. We work in construction. We would do any job on the other side. 4 or 5 people have died here. The army killed them. The border guards shot them.
Suddenly, their lookout spots the army. They have to get down fast. The Israeli army uses tear gas to disperse the Palestinians, and sometimes it fires live ammunition. Over the past 2 years, around 50 Palestinians have died attempting to scale the wall. December 19th, 2025. This video was filmed by a local resident. Shot in the leg, this man had a narrow escape. He survived his injuries. On October 5th, Saeed suffered the same fate. It was his second attempt to get into Israel. Since then, he's been doing rehabilitation exercises with a physical therapist, trying to regain use of his left leg and learn to live without his right leg.
خفيف لحد تحمل.
When he pushes harder, it's extremely painful. I scream in pain. It's as if he was breaking a bone.
بكسر عظم يعني. بدنا نفوت على الداخل. احنا وصلنا تقريبا عند
We wanted to cross into Israel. We were at the fence, just before the wall. That's where they opened fire, at the edge of the fence. We couldn't see the soldiers at all. They could see us, but we couldn't see them. There were 7 of us. 5 of us were wounded. I was hit in both legs. The others were also hit in the legs. They tried to treat my leg, but after 20 or 25 days, it wasn't working. It had become dangerous because the bacteria and inflammation were spreading to the rest of my body. So the choice was my leg or my life.
كمل مشي ولا نفس التمرين؟
لا نفس التمرين.
امسك.
For Saeed, it'll be a long, hard road to healing and mobility. And injuries like these beg the question, is there a deliberate policy of shooting people in the legs? What are the conditions that prompt soldiers to open fire? Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani is a spokesperson for the Israeli army.
I want to show you two photos. Quite a number of people that were telling us they noticed that among the people injured, they were injured in the legs. So I want to ask you if there is a policy of shooting in the legs.
Well, I can't speak of specific incidents without the details of the people, but generally speaking, our procedures are to block threats in a gradual manner and try and prevent harm to people. So first of all, if we identify a threat anywhere, we would try to warn them without any measures. And then if there's a threat that is approaching the troops or seems like a threat that is posed to the troops that is still approaching, then it would be a fire to the air, and then it could be to the legs. We never face any terrorists in uniform. It's always people in civilian clothing. So to give all the opportunity, if it is a civilian, to move back and to make sure we're doing it in the most gradual way and providing different types of warnings.
As the chief of the military police stationed at the border, far-right minister Itamar Ben-Gvir stands by this repressive policy.
The Jerusalem area is the only place where responsibility for the barrier lies with the border guards. They've launched a successful pilot project, shooting at illegal immigrants, and it's bringing down the numbers.
Tel Aviv. The city is dotted with construction sites. Since October 7th, Israeli authorities have encouraged companies to recruit overseas workers instead of Palestinians from the West Bank. Daniel Helferman employs more than 150 laborers on this site. Most of them are Chinese. But the company director admits that he can't do without Arab labor. To be specific, Arab Israelis, or Palestinian citizens of Israel. They make up 20% of the country's population.
In this apartment, you can see the plastering is being done by Chinese workers. The barriers over there were done by Arab Israelis. The electricity was also done by Arab Israelis. There's good cooperation between Israeli workers and foreign workers. We don't have Palestinians, but we have Arab Israelis and Chinese. And overall, they all get along.
Israeli authorities carry out regular checks among workers on construction sites. If they find people from the occupied West Bank, they arrest them. The contractors are fined, and operations on site can even be shut down.
There are no workers from those territories. Zero. None of them have permits. I don't know of any. We don't have any.
But do workers without permits try to come?
No, there aren't any here. We set up a special program. If a worker does not have an identity card or passport, they cannot access the site. We don't mess around with these things.
But while we're filming discreetly on a neighboring construction site, an Arab contractor tells us about the false papers that some Palestinians use.
They get fake identity cards with normal Arabic first names. But they're fake Israeli IDs. It's so they can get onto the building site. And we know about it. We try to help. We don't report them because we know they're there to earn a living. They're not criminals. Generally, Israeli bosses are not aware of this. Only we can tell whether someone is an Israeli Arab or a Palestinian from the West Bank. We can tell the difference from their accent.
Working under false identities in exchange for a cut of their wages, paid to the people who lend them their names. Away from the construction site, one of these illegal workers agrees to tell us more. Walid is a trained architect and now lives in a basement.
Once you've managed to get over the wall, life afterwards isn't really a life. The humiliation and fear are constant. That fear's ingrained in you. While you sleep, when you eat, in your work. You can't even talk to your family on the phone. I sleep at the construction site where I work. There's nothing there but mice. I live underground. I have no choice.
Fearful of the police, this is his first time venturing onto the beach.
Seeing the sea is an indescribable feeling. It's life. It's a smell we've never smelt before. We hear about the sea, but we never see it. Look at that. Jews walking on the beach without fear. For us, that's impossible. I can't go there. It's not fair.
There's another target for Walid's anger, his own people. That is, those who benefit from the Palestinian smuggling networks.
It's true, there is exploitation. Of course there is. The person who smuggles me across the border and drives me to my workplace gets 700 or 800 shekels per person. Isn't that exploitation? Of course it is. We exploit each other.
In the occupied West Bank, back at the wall, the smugglers rule the roost. The man in the black coat is the informal leader of the network. His phone rings constantly.
هاي التليفونات بلشت. تفضل يلا. ايش يا ادهم؟ طيب. ما فيش والله على الدغري، كلهم تمسكوا الشفرية. فيش عنا على الدغري، وقف الخط.
لو خليت يرجع الجدار برجع يدور.
بنزله، ما فيش مشكلة. شباب لفوا وجوهكم على غاد، لفوا وجوهكم على غاد، على السلم كلكم تطلعوا، كلكم غاد على السلم عشان في تصوير. قبل 7 أكتوبر كان خلينا.
Before October 7th, every day there were about 10 people without permits crossing at this spot. Today there are at least 200 every day.
عمال يجي 200 يقطعوا.
We have 3 shifts here. One is from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., the next from 6 p.m. to midnight, and the last is from midnight to 6 a.m. Of course, we have our lookouts on the other side, so if the authorities arrive, they let us know. And then in 1 second, everyone disappears.
One by one, they get through. On the other side, in East Jerusalem, we're directly below the same gap. Here, the workers are met by another smuggler. He tells them to join the drivers. They'll take them to their workplace. The price of this operation is 400 shekels, about 100 euros. This smuggler's family has been trafficking workers for years. Since October 7th, it has become an extremely lucrative business.
It's true that it used to be cheaper, but given the circumstances now, any worker who tells you he's paying too much is a liar. They pay a maximum of 500 shekels to be transported from their home to Haifa. That's not a lot of money. One day's work is worth 700 or 800 shekels. I have worked all my life transporting workers from the West Bank. Before, I worked legally. I made 400 shekels a day and went home. But life's expensive. I couldn't keep earning 400 shekels. I have a lot of expenses. I spend a lot and I wanted to buy a house. If I'd carried on working legally, I couldn't do anything.
Do you feel guilty?
No, I don't feel guilty. It's not my fault. I don't feel guilty because I do my best and try to ensure the safety of these workers as much as possible.
For a handful of Palestinians, crossing at the official checkpoints remains an option. Israel allows entry to around 8,000 workers whose jobs are considered essential. We're at the Kalandia crossing between Ramallah and Jerusalem. Ibrahim Boulos is waiting for his turn.
It's 7:43 now, and I have to wait until 8 o'clock to be able to cross.
Ibrahim teaches in a Christian school. 8 o'clock is also when it opens. Every day he makes this long commute to Jerusalem.
To pass through the checkpoint, you need a permit. Getting this permit is not easy. It is only available to certain categories of people, like teachers or doctors. Some consider this permit to be exceptional. Others see it as a privilege or an opportunity. But no one knows how to obtain it. Some continue to try, but getting the permit is never guaranteed.
Christian schools in Jerusalem are well aware of the precarity of the situation. They went on a 2-week strike after Christmas to protest against the cancellation of work permits for 171 teachers from the occupied West Bank. Lessons have started up again, but tight restrictions remain in place.
Since October 7th, we've been forbidden from spending the night in Israel. Before, workers slept on site and woke up on their construction sites. Teachers could rent accommodation in Jerusalem so they could go to school without having to go through the checkpoint every day. Now, all of that is forbidden. It is strictly forbidden to spend the night in Israel. Now we have to return to the West Bank, to the areas controlled by the Palestinian Authority. We have to register on the app or with our magnetic card to validate our exit from Israel. We have to do this every day.
In the occupied West Bank, the unemployment rate reached a record high in 2025. More than 1 in 4 people are unemployed. That's twice as many as before October 7th. At the wheel of his old van, Mahmoud witnesses the unrelenting destruction of the local economy. He works as a scrap metal dealer, buying salvaged material from former workers in Israel, enough for them to survive on for a few days.
قديش تحسب له يا 5 بعيني؟ يلا 12 كيف؟ 12 تاخذ يمين على 5 1 2 3
I used to work in agriculture in Israel. Here I wanted to work in agriculture too, but everything stopped.
Do you have children?
I have 4 children. That's a lot of expenses. One of my daughters is at primary school. She needs 10 shekels a day for school. I also need 50 shekels for food. And then there's gas and electricity. Overall, I need 200 shekels a day.
We try to help people as best we can. Sometimes we make no profit, because when we see the catastrophic conditions people are living in, like him, who collects drink cans from morning to night for 30 shekels, may God be with him. Personally, at the very beginning of the war, I was still working on the other side. When the war broke out, we fled. We hoped to return to our jobs in Israel after a month or two, but the noose tightened even more. Today, there is no hope of returning to work. We tried 2 or 3 times to jump the wall illegally, and there they shot several people right before our eyes.
When he was still working as a construction labourer, Mahmoud earned nearly 2,500 euros a month. Today, he says he's lost 90% of that salary. His only income is from selling these salvaged objects.
Everything you see here comes from people who could no longer feed their children. So they are forced to sell their possessions, even new items. Some even dismantle their metal doors to sell them. Personally, I managed to find another job in scrap metal. But other workers can't find anything. It's as if life has turned its back on them. No work in Israel, no work in the West Bank. But those people were the basis of the West Bank economy. They fueled the entire West Bank.
Without Israel, can the Palestinian economy survive? Can it break free from its financial dependence in a context of occupation? After his physical therapy, it's time for Saeed to go home. He now depends on the help of his wife Andalib and his 3 children.
تفضل تعال يا بابا. هاي الحين أعطيك بابا. تبي تساعد بابا؟
بالليل يعني على المغرب أو العشاء يعني أصور له مساج مثلا.
شو كمان؟
بس هذا يوم أوديه الحمام.
شاطر. جيب العرباي نروح على الحمام. شاطر.
He's a curious little boy. He always asks me, "Where did your leg go?" I don't know what to tell him. So I tell him it's at the doctor's.
الدكتور.
First, there was life before the accident and life after. A new life was born. We had to fight to keep Saeed alive, rather than fight to keep his leg. Saeed, as a whole person, is going to stay alive. And for me, it really is a new life, with new responsibilities. And this new life is a blessing from God. My husband is here with me, with our children, in our home. As I told my children, his leg has gone ahead of us to paradise.
With its back up against the wall, the future of the West Bank looks bleaker than ever. The Israeli government just announced the construction of several additional kilometers of wall within Palestinian territory.